Hi everyone, we are playing pure chess. We're in the main menu and we're going to tackle chess challenges. We're going to bonus games and we're going to select mate in 5. Today we're going to handle the final problem, that's problem number 20. Now, as always, if you'd like, go ahead and hit pause and take a minute to analyze this if you haven't already. Okay, we have a complicated but simple problem in front of us. When I say complicated, I mean there's a lot of pieces. There looks like there can be a lot of different ways to get it. Uh, but when you run through it, it's kind of difficult. So how do we solve this? How do we figure out how to get mate in 5? Well, there's a couple concepts that I'd like to try to focus on in order to accomplish solving this problem. The first concept is the king's flight squares. Another concept would be, so you got d8, d7, and of course e7. Now we've got two of those flight squares blocked by the bishop on g5. We've got this rook on d1 that will block the other one with the movement of the bishop right here. Now black has this pawn on f7. Black has the bishop on f8, sorry. And then of course two rooks, h8 and c8, and then this queen. Let's see, what we have is we're trying to figure out, how we can box this king in, and maybe if we're really smart, we can use some of these pieces that black has to our advantage. The problem, I think, or the biggest problem we have is queen on c7. That queen defends a lot of pieces. It defends this pawn on c5. It defends this pawn here on f7. So the question is, how do we solve this problem? And like I said, the answer involves flight squares for the king and figuring out how to improve our position. And when I say improve our position, I mean this is involves some complicated trades where we're giving up, some high value pieces for position. And the question is, what high value piece for position do we want to give up? One option we have this bishop here that would open up the d file to the rook. If we were to, let's say, move the bishop, check, opens up the d file to the rook. The only problem by taking let's say f7 is it also opens up the king's flight squares. And then we would only have three pieces: the rook, the queen, and the bishop. So that doesn't work. Another option you could start out with is potentially, let's say, moving it to b7, moving the bishop to b7, and that would create some problems for black, but it's not going to work in getting to the mate in 5. Now, what kind of problems would it create for black? Well, black has his queen, and his queen is tied down to defending the e5 pawn. If the queen moves, it's not defending anymore, and there's no piece defending the e5 pawn. And remember, we got this queen that's positioned on, it's not greatly positioned on g3, but if we can move it one or two spots, taking that e5 pawn would be really nice. But that doesn't work. So the question is, how can we use black's position against us? And the answer comes down to pretty much one word. And if you'd like, you can take a second to guess it. Yep. Sacrifice. Sacrifice is going to be the key word here. What we're going to do is we're going to improve our position. So we have this queen that's not being utilized. We're just going to simply take this e5 pawn. Check. Black has some problems. Black defends by pulling the queen right here. Now we don't want to... we do not want to take with a queen yet, because that would open up their flight squares. Black could do some stuff with a bishop and get out of the situation. So the next simplest move we can make here is we'd like to develop this rook on d1. So what we're going to do is we're going to play bishop to c6 check. Okay? And black's going to recapture with this rook on c8. But what we're going to do is we're going to slide our queen into b8 check. And then you'll see the mating pattern there, right? So let's play bishop to c6 check. Again, black cannot move the queen. So black's only option was to capture with the rook right there. Now we can play... And then we've really, really improved our position now, because we've got this d1 rook that's got everything, all the flight squares covered, and it's just a matter of mating pattern. Now this queen can't be moved, and we also can... We've got a lot of good stuff going on here. So we're going to play queen to b8, check. Black can only move the rook. So we're just going to play queen takes c8, check. Black can only move the queen. And, oh, by the way, we've got this d8 square covered with our rook, and we've got it protected with our bishop. So black can't do anything. All we need to do is queen takes queen, d8, checkmate, and that solves the problem. And, of course, that wraps this up. I am signing out. I'd like to thank you for watching.